gaming. The only thing that I disliked about the old game. There are so many different conversations started by gaming.
Oh, I forgot. I have you.
This could be anything. Okay, walk in that green goo. Oh, that's a no. Anything Gaming Podcast. Okay. Hi, welcome to Anything Gaming. This is episode 32. I think we're up to something. We're getting along some episodes, but I'm Ant. He's Woody. We're talking today about running. We like running in a game, and we thought there's so much to talk about with running. It's probably going to be a lot of history and a little bit of now and then and funny moments. Hey, Woody, how you going?
Doing great. And it's interesting that you talk about running because it is one of those things that you just take granted for in games. You know, you don't really, because it's just a basic function, you know. But it's one of the things that's defined games, like going as far back as you can. But before we get to that, though, yes, I am doing very well. Been playing some good stuff lately. I'm actually getting back into. I'm playing through Fallout 3 and Fallout 4 at the same time, kind of right now.
Is that do you find that confusing? Like you come back to it and you go, "Oh, what button? Do they change buttons in this or not?"
The VATS button. The VATS button. In Fallout 3, it's the right bumper. In Fallout 4, it's the left bumper.
Yeah.
So,
okay.
but that's it. Everything else is exactly the same, so it's not that bad. I could bind the keys, but I was like, I'm even too lazy to do that. Just get through it.
Yeah. No, it makes sense. But it just that one button can be quite annoying because then all of a sudden you're like, well, why did they do this to make everything so confusing? Can you I guess you could rebound it or bind it or whatever, but
right, yeah. I don't know why I haven't. Just it's stupid, but no, that's what I got going on in my world.
Yeah, I've been playing a little bit on the Steam Deck. I've been buying all these little games.
Oh, the Steam Deck. How's that going?
I just talk
Week 6 of the Steam Deck.
All we talk about is the Steam Deck in my house.
Are you bored of it yet?
No, I really love it. It's just perfect on all levels. Battery life, everything. You couldn't have made a better handheld. I'm still with it and everything. I find some of the little things like I haven't linked up my PlayStation and my Xbox account to it yet. But you've got to do some third-party apps and a bit of mucking around. I think I've got to plug in my mouse and keyboard into the Steam Deck to make it easier to do that because it's a bit hard with the on-screen controls. But other than that, really, really highly recommend. We could do another Steam Deck.
Of course, yep. No, that's still in the back front of my mind. I will, as soon as I can, I will run to a Steam Deck to purchase. But until then, let's talk about running in games. Okay. Now, the first thing, when we talk about running, in my mind, I start at Super Mario Brothers, holding the B button to run, you know, which was the first game where you had to do that, because if you were jumping on a small platform and you had to kind of like just nudge over a little to the side, you'd walk a little, and then if you once got to get going, hold down that button and run, and boom, go right over. Definitely gave you the feeling of momentum, which running does in real life too. And every game after that seemed to follow that. Just like the B button's the run button. Every game, you know.
Yeah.
At least for the NES, and also Master System. Chances are you're probably holding the number 1 button to run. There were the occasional game where there was no button to run. At the top of my head, Sonic is one of those. There's no run button in Sonic. The only button you use in the original Sonic is the button to jump, which is A, B, and C. Yeah,
but is roll classified as running? Like once you get that moment,
no.
You know what I mean?
Because like even if you just press forward and Sonic gets going, builds up the momentum, which can sometimes, especially if you're near a ramp, can sometimes be terrible. You have to back up a little so you can get the running going, the momentum, just to get up there.
Yeah.
Just talking about it made me kind of tired of doing it.
I just wonder if they ever didn't put running in games, how would this all affect us? Like it's so obvious to be in a game, and it's something that you would always want in a game. But imagine if Mario never added running, it just had that media. I don't know. Would you call would you say that he does a jog apart, like before he starts to run? Is it like I don't think he really walks, Mario. It's more
No, no.
jog to run.
Well, even just like any like the new Mario games, like Wonder or something, and don't even press B, just like go forward. It's kind of like a healthy, jaunt.
Yeah.
He's not just like, but this is the interesting thing about Mario. Why Mario didn't introduce that? Mario also introduced the analog controlling of running, which you saw in Mario 64, which is if you just press a little forward, Mario does like a little tiptoe, but once you go full bore, then he zips off. Going back to Mario and just imagine him not running, I have played certain platforming games that your character didn't run because they were more adventure, more like cerebral kind of games.
Mm-hmm.
The only problem is though these games weren't good. Like they were really bad. Even like the best adventure games like Flashback, This World, or even some of the more mediocre ones like Dark Castle. While it's not a platform in the Vegas sense, there is if you lean forward enough or if you hold down this button, you can run.
Yeah.
To get some momentum going, like because you need it. Yeah, I mean it should be just like in life. If you had to run towards something, you would run towards something.
Yeah, I think that especially with your platforming games, having platform space for a normal jump and then a running jump is kind of half the skill. You're going along and you're like, oh, do I need to running jump to that or walking jump to that? Because like running could be detrimental to you in a game as well. By some platforms, you'll over jump them if you hit them with a run, And
oh yeah, no, there are some. Now that you mention it, you're right. There are some like they'll put them in there. Put them in there if you run and jump, you're screwed.
Yeah, you just over jump it, land on the spikes. There's always running games often have spikes involved. Running and spikes seem to be a thing that goes together in video games because you've got to land on spikes to die, obviously, from running games.
What do they call them? Those games like infinite, like forever running,
endless,
endless running. Yeah. The only endless running game I actually ever really got too big into was Super Meat Boy Forever. Which was a really good endless running game. I enjoyed it. I never really played Super Mario Run, so I couldn't tell you about that.
I didn't much go on that. That was really weird from a Mario point of view because you were only really controlling his jumps. So you'd be running along and then you go jump, and you jump this way, that way, and you weren't controlling his direction. And just felt so awkward for a Mario game. Temple Run. Did you ever play Temple Run as a
run? That I was saying I was like Temple something. Yeah. I did play Temple. That seemed to be like the big daddy of like endless running game.
Everyone got into Temple Run. It was like one of the ones that did that kind of thing. For me, you got introduced obviously with Mario. For me, I don't know if this classifies as running, but Prince of Persia, the original Prince of Persia, they had like this weird running hop almost. It was like this, you would do these like really, really long lunges with your feet to do the run, but it wasn't like a traditional run. It was more of like a hoppy kind of thing. And if you didn't do that over certain parts, you'd fall through the boards or things like that. And you'd have to do this weird hop. It was almost like you were doing for a long jump kind of thing. So then you could jump certain chasms or whatever as well in that particular game. And obviously
you're right.
Spikes.
That's kind of a gray area, huh? Like
yeah. It was a bit.
I don't know how to define it. Like the animation is running.
Mm-hmm. But you're not really running. You're more doing this thing where you're in
down
between.
Below if anyone else wants to vote on this. I mean, because that stumps me. I don't know if you could consider that running or not either.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It's kind of this in between thing where it's in between running. But I liked he was jogging the rest of the time, so let's run it in there. Maybe it's in the maybe pile of running games. I enjoyed doing a lot of that, but I mean, another thing that I remember playing the original, we're going back to the top-down version of Grand Theft Auto and running from the police as soon as you got out of a car. and going for it. Like, imagine how hard it would be to kind of get away from these criminals if you're just walking away from police. So would both do like a little bit of a walk kind of movement to get away from each other. Be like a
Well, maybe that's like you'll confuse them. You'll wait a minute. They're just walking. They're not running. They didn't do anything.
They're normal. They're blending into the crowd. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Ha, ha, ha.
Maybe.
Oh well, it's interesting that you bring up GTA 3 because Grand Theft Auto. You were talking about the top-down ones.
Yeah.
I think a big stereotype with running in video games is those running in video games where you kind of have to tap a button so you can keep running at a decent speed.
Did that one do the thing where the bike too, he had to sink it in the pedals?
San Andreas. Yes.
Oh, I hated that. Oh.
But like, the more you tapped it, then you would start to actually level up. So I mean, at least it did something with it. A lot of games, a lot of like open world games that follow the Grand Theft, that was their running mechanic. I know Saints Row did that. Mercenaries did it, but you didn't have to tap the button. You could just do. In fact, now I think about a lot of games like that, you just had to hold the button down, and you'd run. There might be a stamina bar or something, but at least you wouldn't have to tap.
Yeah, stamina bars are something that came in quite quickly with running because obviously people realize that just speed running games. I mean, we praise speed runners, but speed running games kind of were a little bit on the boring side. I guess we made it a bit easier with the original platforming game. So they had to kind of create a stamina bar so people couldn't just run levels and finish a game in 10 seconds type thing. Was there any interesting stamina bars that you remember back in the day? Like,
well, I would say, like, as far as like running in games and having energy to be able to run, going back to the Saints Row games. But the cool thing about the Saints Row games, and this is any tip for anyone that's playing the original ones, so you have a stamina bar, and you know if you run, you can't tap. You have to hold down the button, but you'll run out of stamina pretty quickly. But if you complete a certain series of missions called insurance fraud, if you complete all of them, you can have unlimited stamina. So you can just run indefinitely, and which I love. I love that in any game that lets you do that. But then you have games like right now I was playing through some Skyrim. Stamina's in that game that has a stamina bar, and you run too fast, you just keep running, you end up losing all of it. Fallout 4 does even better because Fallout 4 doesn't have a stamina bar, but you use your action points to run.
Oh, okay.
Now, your action points dictate how many turns you get in VATS, which is, the turn-based portion of Fallout 4. So if you see a battle going in, you might not want to run into battle.
Yeah. Right.
Because if you do that, you'll blow yourself out and you won't have any action points, and you might need those because you have to shoot someone in the head, like, right away because they got something.
I always like the stamina bars, where so you get punished if you over stamina, like for example, in Link, where you use your stamina up, and then all of a sudden he'll go to this like slow, where he goes back to like a really, really, really slow, like kind of breathing heavily kind of thing. So you kind of have to watch that stamina bar, and then you've like a millimeter from the end of it, and you let go of it, let him just jog, let the stamina bar build up, and then you can run again. Like I enjoy that in a stamina bar, to be fair, like that real precise kind
gives you that penalty right there. Yeah, a lot of games do that, which works. Going back to Skyrim has something like that, where if you just run out your stamina bar, you obviously can't run anymore, but you'll hear a character go, because they overran.
Yeah, and obviously then to compensate the stamina bar in like Zelda is they've got the little cabbages or something that you can pick up on the way, which will just instantly refill your stamina bar. So you could do like a running section of the game, and you just have to line up all your cabbages and away you go. It makes it really good. I enjoy that also in a racing, running type of action.
Did you ever pick up Immortals Phoenix Rising?
Ugh, yes. I just could not get into that game. there was so much to like about that game, but so much to hate about the game. It's like this game that divides me on all levels. It's the most divisive game on any system ever.
Well,
Yeah. People,
we
did you
we gotta
like
say,
it? Did you like it?
did I like it? I didn't not like it. It was just
But
a
you
little too
didn't
derivative.
yeah, you didn't like it, but you didn't hate it. It's
Yeah.
just like there's so much to like about the game, but there's so much to hate about the game, and it doesn't compel you to want to play it. The story is garbage. Like the character like is just so bland and like
one of the worst creative characters screens. Well, just doesn't really give you too much.
Yeah. Okay. Sorry.
But
Back to running.
No. It was well deserved.
I needed to get that off my chest. Okay.
The stamina bar in that is a lot like Breath of the Wild. Like almost to the design, honestly. Yeah. Just that, like, get down to that era. Now you're going to be really slow and you got to wait for it to come back up.
I feel like they copied a lot from Breath of the Wild for that game. That's why you can't hate it, because it's got that nice Breath of the Wild vibe to it. And there's some things about it that are really fantastic. So, yeah, I would say that. But when we go to 3D running games, for me, the one that really grabbed me to start with would be like the Crash Bandicoot series. Like, I just love the way they implemented. That's just basically a running chasing. I feel like that's almost the first idea of the endless runner came from Crash Bandicoot, because even though that wasn't an endless runner, the idea was to make you make decisions really fast, and you just like you kind of like, I've got to jump here, I've got to do that, I've got to do everything fast. Everything's so thinking on the run kind of thing. You would have been a Crash Bandicoot fan.
Oh no, yeah, and I was, and I still am. Very like you said. Even, and one thing I always noticed about the original Crash Bandicoot games and the remastered version I had them too, it flowed very well. You know, you never felt like you really missed too much. I mean, there were the occasional box, secret area, all that stuff, but it was just a very, in a way, it kind of reminded me of Sonic in that way. But Sonic started to get, by this time, especially because the PS1 was in charge now. So I got a little too overcomplicated. You know, with its pads and stuff, especially considering that Sonic was supposed to be like a straightforward, just go right through the game. So I think that's Crash with its type of running, type of regression really surpassed that. And again, though, it is one of those games where you never really have to not run. Like, I can't, like, I think there's might be a couple jumps here and there where you got to kind of like, you know, just like lay off for a bit and do that. But other than that, you're pretty much always running.
Yeah, and it was intense too, because it really introduced you to that like boulder chasing you and running towards the camera. I don't remember any 3D games before Crash that had the running towards the camera sequence. That was so like unique for its time. Everyone, like, 3D was starting to become big by that time. Obviously we had like the Wolfensteins or Dooms and things like that had lots of running and jumping, but nothing that was running towards the screen with things chasing after you, and you've only got like this split second to see, like, there's a gap there, I've got to jump. Oh, I didn't jump. Checkpoint.
Here's a good suggestion. Have you ever played a running game? Now, I'm honestly, this is around the Wii Connect area, but have you ever played a running game where you have to run, but you actually have to move to run? Like, one of the Wii games I played back in the day, in order to run for have your character, it was kind of like a track meet thing. You had to do this.
Oh, yeah.
Like that, like stuff.
I think on the Xbox, what was the Xbox Connect?
Connect, yeah.
Yeah, there was one like that where I had to like actually jog on the spot. There were, like, obviously some training ones and stuff like that. Oh my God.
I always found that interesting because it's such a basic movement, you know what I mean? So you can do it and have the game log it, and you can actually, it's one of those things that you do in real life that can be mapped out in the game.
Yeah.
Just movement.
And then you quickly turn that game off and go and play something else where you never have to move again. Yeah.
I say that because my go-to is I didn't have one of these as a kid, but later on in life I picked up a power pad for the NES, which is you lay down flat. And when you're playing World Cup Track Mate, you actually get on there and you start running. I got one today. I wouldn't use it because I'm afraid I'd break it. I mean, not that I'm huge or anything like that. Just it's old, so I don't really want to mess with around with pad there.
Yeah.
But I always respect any game that really like has you running with the game, even as tiresome as it gets, and it makes you just want to sit down and press X instead.
Yeah, well, I guess for me the only version of that would be I remember playing what's it called? The what's the PlayStation FPS game that's kind of fallen by the wayside now that used to be big back in the PlayStation 3.
Um, Resistance,
No. The one that everyone used to play.
Killzone.
Was it Killzone? Yeah, I think so. That was the one that was a PlayStation exclusive one.
Yeah, well, Medal of Honor was, but that ended up coming
Yeah,
to a
but that
con. Well,
PlayStation that was kind of more to kind of combat the Halo era. It was like a similar vibe to Halo. Yeah,
yeah, that I can only think. I mean, it'd either be Time Splitters or Killzone,
I
and
think it
Time Splitters
was.
also.
I think it was Killzone, and so I played that, and this was before VR, and so you had like the PlayStation gun, and you were running around by pressing one of the buttons in the PlayStation gun, and kind of moving through the levels quite fast. But because you didn't have TVs all around you, it was kind of a little bit. You kind of had to turn the TV as you turned the gun to kind of. It was a bit. It was a fun experience, but I guess it was easily replaced with VR now because at least you could see next to you and control yourself quicker and
Right.
stuff like that. But that was my only real gunning kind of moment of doing that type of stuff.
Well, here's another question. We kind of touched on this a little before. Speaking of, you said you had to press a button on the gun to run.
Mm-hmm.
Let's just say if you're playing a game, for the argument for now, let's just say platformer, 2D or 3D, doesn't matter.
Yeah.
But that's also say, well, let's say with 2D because that way, or even 3D, I guess. But let's just say there is a run button. Where do you see the run button being on the controller? Where would you want it? Now we're talking platformer.
The run button on an Xbox controller is always the X button for me.
You would put it on the X button.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay. So you jump would
And you
always
jump
be
with the A,
and
so yeah,
reload would be your B button.
well, speaking of reloading, though, now let's talk about a first-person shooter.
Reload is my B button.
Now, what is the run button?
Still my X button. I don't like. I mean, I get that a lot of people put it on L3, and I don't mind that, but
Yeah.
it seems like a lot more work to do it on L3. But I mean, I can do it like that. I don't mind that, but yeah.
For a while, a lot of the the first person shooters would map the run button to one of the bumper buttons.
Oh, I hated that.
I think
that.
BioShock.
Yeah.
Well, not BioShock. Skyrim. Skyrim does it.
I hated that.
Yeah.
Because then I'd go to throw a grenade and all of a sudden I'd run at him, and it was not very great.
Right. Yeah. A couple have that though. I wasn't a fan of that either. Honestly, like I've kind of trained myself to run in stick mode now, L3. But for the platformers, you're right. X that B to run.
Yeah.
Maybe A or B, like the bottom one, depending on like if I'm playing a retro game, and that's just where it would go back in the day. But even then, I try to map it to X because it just feels better.
I think so. Okay, so running had to evolve. It always had to evolve. Did you like the introduction of wall running? There's many games,
Yes.
Titanfall,
Yes.
Ratchet and Clank. There was the few games that did it. Ghost Runner, I think, is one that does it.
Yeah, no. Wall running, like, I mean, I'm sure there's some games out there that have bad wall running mechanics.
Oh yes, 100%.
Yeah, there's got to be, but I've avoided them so far. All the game, and no, not even just that. Christ, I want to say the Xbox version of Ninja Gaiden even had some type of wall running to it, and that was smooth. Yeah, that was just a smooth game to begin with. But no.
I think wall running was like one of my favorite things to come out of the like 2000s is wall running. I think Titanfall was the one that really got me involved with wall running, loving wall running.
And what I love Titanfall's wall running, if you stop, naturally you fall, but you don't have to go that fast. You know, you can
No.
kind of slow down at a point.
Yeah,
You'll start to
you'll
drop
start
a
to
bit,
you'll start to come down a bit. Yeah.
yeah. Sometimes you have to because you just want to jump in the right direction. So okay, drop down and then go in.
Yeah.
So because of that, yes, I do. I like wall running. It's usually a very fun mechanic. I like it when it's a little bit more freeform, like Titanfall. There are wall running parts where it's so like it's just like a magnet on a rail. Just you hit that certain button, that certain hit, and it just like does it for you.
Yeah.
Like that, which is cute, but you don't feel like you did it. You feel like you just went through a motion.
Yeah, I just remember when how fast wall running hit the market. Like it was, I think Titanfall was one of the first ones to kind of really bring it in. And then all of a sudden the next Call of Duty's got wall running, and you got like all these games are trying to implement more speed. Like everyone just wanted to go faster than running at that point in the early 2000s. And then we all got motion sick and we backed it off a little bit and not made it so crazy as that was. So...
you know what's up? Yeah, but like the wall running in that game, I think does very well. That's almost like the template, especially for first person.
Well, let's go back again. Let's go back in time a bit, I guess, to the first Wolfenstein 3D, one of the very first 3D games. Obviously, they put running in that. I don't know. Did you run around? I found that really actually quite hard to run around at first because you had to really know the levels. But you couldn't run around it because enemies would kind of come at you too fast. The computer didn't have enough speed at that point in time, so you couldn't see enemies in the distance that great to run. So you'd almost have to clear the level, then run around the walls and trying to find the secret passages and stuff like that.
Yeah, like Wolfenstein's running was very simple because the levels themselves weren't big. It wasn't until Doom where running became a thing, especially if you're trying to clear stuff. But one thing I noticed with Doom, and I think Duke Nukem, and maybe even Quake did it, was that they would always have an option to always run. Like you just throw one run mode, and then you just run. And a lot of times, I was like, why not just have that anyway? There's no real platforming parts. There might be a part or two where you might have to slow down a bit, but I can't even think of one. Most of the times, everything they want you to clear, you have to be going at full speed.
Yeah.
And but Wolfenstein, I mean, especially compared to Doom and all that, Wolfenstein didn't have anything like any jumping or movement puzzles. Really,
can you jump in Wolfenstein? I don't think you can jump. I think it was only, okay.
Not that one, not in Doom. Well, when I say jump, I mean running so that your character actually goes over a pit and clears that. Not really jumping, but running fast enough that you clear it.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I do. Yeah, that's fair enough, because Doom, there was a few secret bits that you had to do that.
Oh yeah, like further in the game, like you get these levels where you have to clear these pillars, and if you don't, you fall. Pain in the butt.
Well, it's interesting so that you've got like games like Titanfall, for example, what we just spoke about, that had very fast-paced games, and they didn't punish you for falling. And then you had like the other version of that where it's either running games punish you really hard for missing a jump, or they're kind of like there's no penalty for missing a jump. There's no in between with running games. Running games are the two versions of that, I think. I remember Sunset Overdrive was another one that was always about speed. I think it brought in the whole tracks and jumping on and sliding. Is sliding a running kind of evolution as well, I guess? It's kind of speeding up that movement.
I mean, well, okay, so there are games where you can slide, like, and most of it involves, okay, I forget what game I was playing, but I'll even think about another game I played, Batman, the Arkham games. You can walk as Batman, but you can also, bat run. And there's a move you can do where you can actually slide.
Whoa. Is bat run a thing? Like, is that actually, like, is it bat walk? Do we have to put bat in front of every action?
I put bat in front of everything. Like, he doesn't slide, he bat slides.
He bat slides, okay. He bat punches. I like this. Let's do that. Okay.
Um, but right there, sliding is kind of used as a freeform thing, not just. I didn't even forget the fact that you can use it as a weapon. Whereas there's other games, Sunset Overdrive, I think was one of them, where sliding's kind of a pre-tracked thing. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
you have to
yeah,
do it
yeah.
at that point. So but it's still movement. It's still most of the time, even with that, you have to be running to activate it.
Yeah,
So
that's
sliding
true.
definitely is a trade-off from running. Running birthed the sliding.
Yeah, no, that's fair. I think in Sunset Overdrive that was to help you get around the map faster because they didn't want to add cars, I guess. So they're like, hey, let's add some sliding, and you can just slide around, jump on this, and you go over there and whatever.
Kind of weird in games where you can just slide though without running, like Mega Man. You just slide. You know, there was no running or anything involved.
It
Yeah,
always gets back to Mega Man. If we can't drop a Mega Man into the episode, it's not worth having.
one every episode. One every episode. Um, Now here's another quirky thing. Have you ever been in a game where you had to run on water or just like any random wet surface? And in game, if you stop running, you got to fall in the water.
No, I haven't. I've done that with like I was gonna talk about ice, so we can kind of tie these in together. Where you run on ice and you turn around and you keep sliding and you have to run faster to kind of get your momentum to go the other way.
Running on ice, yeah, like because there are games that like even going far back, games it's like okay, you have to run, but it's gonna be on ice, so
Yeah.
good luck.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
And so
because like if you get going, you're fine.
Yeah.
But the second you actually have to slow down to do some thinking, now you're in trouble.
Yeah. So what one do you run on water? What was this? What game was that? Did you have
a couple of them? Sonic. What was this 3D Sonics?
Yeah.
Have you do that quite a bit? What was it? Saints Row 4. You ran on water.
Yeah, you did lots of weird things in that game.
Well, Saints Row 4 had probably one of the weirdest like running mechanics because when you start the game, you're just running.
Yeah.
But by the time you level up, when you run, it's like Superman. Like you can run through traffic, it's like up buildings, across water, and it's just the running button.
Okay. Well, yeah, that's yeah, fair enough. I can't argue. Maybe did Ratchet and Clank do something like that? I feel like Ratchet and Clank might have had that ability.
And once again, though, I think that was just like a fixed moment kind of thing. Yeah, not really that free form, but yeah, something similar to that. That seems like it'd be. I still gotta play Rift Apart. I keep saying that.
It's like, honestly one of my favorite games from the last 5 years.
Yeah, not only that, like I heard it's the best non-PS2 Ratchet and Clank game. Like, because like I played the other ones that came out after that, and they were good, but none of them touch that. But everyone says Rift Apart is whatever. It's
got
really good.
All of the things that we've been talking about. It's got the sliding on rails. It's got the I don't know. It's just got a really good story. It's I can't sell it enough that there's parts of like at the start where you kind of seem like you're locked into this very linear kind of path, and then all of a sudden you'll complete some things, and all of a sudden the world just opens up, and you've got like this really open world kind of adventure, and it's. Yeah, and there's a lot to explore, lots of secrets to find. You can spend hours and hours, and like the cutscenes are really well done as well. So I don't know, you need to play it. Just stop Fallout playing.
Have you ever been playing? Going back to running, have you ever been playing a game where the running mechanic? It's not like it's unnecessary. I'm thinking like old time PlayStation 1, PlayStation 2 RPGs, where like there's really not that much or any really platforming or anything. You're more or less just on a grid waiting to fight guys, but there's still a button to run. You know what I mean? Sometimes they might work it in. Like I think in Final Fantasy VII, for example, you have to slow down at one spot to find something. But other than that, like there's no reason to never not be running.
Yeah, I don't. That's it. Okay, so I'm going to go to a little bit of a weird tangent on this. So building a game, and I wonder if this is how running got implemented in games, is when you're building a game, you know all the levels and you cannot be asked walking really slow from one point to the next point. So you automatically like start making your character go faster and faster in the game. So you can test lots of little things in the game. And then all of a sudden, before you know it, you don't even know how to play the game in walking. But then you kind of let other people play the game in walking, and they kind of like, and they're like, oh, they kind of enjoy it because they're seeing all this stuff for the first time. So like, I wonder if running is from developers overplaying and testing their game for so long, and they're like, this is so slow and so boring. I need to get to that point to check this. And they kind of add this running mechanic or even super runs into a game to kind of help them get through games.
I really wish I remembered more of this story, but I remember someone, like it was like just a random news story, like like 10 years ago, but someone actually walked the distance around San Andreas. Like as much as you can, because there are parts where you have to, swim.
Yeah.
But other than that, just not run, just walk over that. So when you mentioned that to me, just like after a while, just like you don't want to just walk through what you made. I was like, oh man, I would hate to do that. You need running in that point.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, especially if you want to test these little, like, oh, there was a little bug over here, and you can't spawn in. The closest you can spawn in is like here without reconfiguring everything. You're like, ugh. I just wonder how many games have got like this super run button built into them that we don't know about. This secret run button.
Now, here's a random question. I don't know if you ever thought about this. What's your favorite running animation?
Oh.
We're talking a character. So obviously, at the very least, it has to be third person because you gotta be able to see your character.
I'm
maybe
gonna go with Rayman.
Oh yeah, because he's got the disconnected.
Yeah. I kind of really enjoy that. I guess, and I don't mind the Sonic how he speeds up kind of thing. That's really kind of cool too. Like, I find Mario's to be probably one of the most boring. It's like he jogs and then they just speed it up a little bit to make him run. It's like they didn't do.
He runs the way you think he would run.
Yeah, there's no extra attitude added to his running thing. It's just the complete same thing. But yeah, those two probably come to mind. Have you got a favorite for that part?
It's just mainly nostalgia, but I gotta go with all four Ninja Turtles from the Turtles in Time games because you got the run. Because they have run, but if you tap twice, they start running and they book it. They look like they go.
Yeah, fair enough. No.
Actually, that's a funny game because the running mechanic for that game, you don't hold down a button, you press forward twice really quick, and you hold it down the second time, and then your character runs.
There is a few games that was like a 90s thing where they would do this like double tap and then you start running and then you had insta run for the rest of the game until you stopped, and then all of a sudden you'd have to reconfigure it to start running again, which was kind of a little bit annoying, but it was, I don't know.
It works for beat 'em up games because you're just trying to get to the next fight, but I could never see doing that in like any type of platformer and have it be comfortable.
I did it in one particular platformer. Now I can't remember which one it was.
I did it, me too, but it wasn't running. In Mega Man X, if you double forward twice, you dash. But it ain't a run. It's just one dash, and then it's over with. So, yeah,
was it
different.
Was it Spyro or something that I remember doing that in, where you double tap something, and then all of a sudden he'd run for a while, and he'd just run continuously? I think it might have been Spyro. That's the one I'm thinking of, which is a platforming. So you'd kind of, because he was like a dragon, so he'd get like this bull run going where I think you had to learn the ability, so you didn't get it instantly out of the gate, and it was partway through the game, and you double tap like A or B or something, and then all of a sudden you'd run. But as soon as you hit a wall or you stopped, you'd have to double tap to do that run thing again. You can't remember, can you?
No, I cannot remember either.
I've out the classic games, man.
Yeah, you outclassed me. No, I'm trying to think. I'm trying to think of all games where you actually tap buttons, and I'm just coming up with beat 'em ups like Streets of Rage and whatnot. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know anything like that.
Yes. Oh, now you get
Well,
next week. You're gonna go and play Spyro just so you can see.
oh yeah, all right. Here's what I found out.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. So then, in about the mid 2000, late 90s, 2000s, or something like that, we got like a different form of running games, and that would have been more your like parkour running games, like the Mirror's Edge. There was a few of those that kind of involved this. Just the whole game was just kind of time trial to see how fast you could do a section of the map.
This came out after Mirror's Edge, like much faster than Mirror's Edge, but it kind of reminded me of that. But I think it handled it better was Dying Light.
Yeah,
I love the running in that. That had a very good flow to it.
Mm-hmm.
And especially the fact that it was in first person and just running was that smooth. I was like, wow, dang. That was really the first PlayStation 4 game I got where I was like, okay, this is a PlayStation 4 game.
Yeah.
It's not a repurposed PlayStation 3 game. It's a PlayStation 4 game.
Oh, you only get them halfway through a console's generation.
Right, yeah. You have to wait a while to get them. And but it wasn't even the visuals, even though the visuals were great. It was just the way it played. You know, I hadn't played anything on PlayStation 3, and PlayStation 3 had a lot of great, smooth games, but nothing quite that refined. Especially when you consider what's going on, where you're fighting zombies and other things. So it did it very, very, very well.
Yeah, I think zombie games, I mean, they've got their own special running. Zombie games are all about running to some extent.
Oh, you have to, yes. I mean, I'd run.
But like, there was a few games that like zombie games that do that, where they're running and hiding. I mean, that kind of opened their own version of horror games, trying to find a spot to hide before they come and find you. What was that?
Outlast.
Yeah.
Was, one of the game like that.
Yeah, and they all kind of got really into this running and hiding kind of thing. I don't know. I think I'm nearly out of running kind of stuff. Have you got any more running kind of bits?
Well, like the last thing I'll mention with running in games is that this kind of goes back to what you were saying about the speed running going on that. And I think that any game that really has like a decent running system can be speed run very well. You know what I mean? Like when you think of games like Super Metroid that had like a regular run sequence, but then you got the hyper booster, so now then you can run really fast. Things like that, games where you alter the running as it goes on. Those have always been very interesting games to me as well. But other than that, no. I mean, running is just a common thing in video games. I notice that when it's not in a video game, the game tends to, not be good, or you don't control someone. It's a puzzle game or something like that. But even then, with Tetris, you can make the things come down really quick. You can make them run to the bottom.
Oh, yes, that's true. So, no, I think running is something that we just never consider in a game, and we just always expect. It's like you expect to be able to breathe every day when you wake up. Running in a video game is the same kind of thing. You expect to be able to just run in a video game. I'm just, like, I don't know what else to say about running in games. There's not a whole lot more about that, but
it explains itself. Yeah.
Have you got anything exciting to come out? Like, I just wanted to change tack for the last part here of any exciting games that you've seen coming out, because we've got a few more announcements.
Here's the problem. There's a lot of games that are coming out, but none of them are coming out this year. Every game I want to play, and I actually got quite a handful of them, they're all 2025.
Isn't Indiana Jones coming out this year? I'm pretty sure that's coming soon.
I'm excited for that game too.
I'm excited. I'm getting more excited for that every time I see it. I'm just like, oh.
I want to play Doom. I want to play Perfect Dark. I want to play GTA. I want to play the Donkey Kong remaster, and it's all coming out next year. I can't think of one game. Like, there's got to be a couple, but as far as like the games that I really, really, really want to get my hands on, I just can't think of any coming out this year. It all seems to be next year, so I'm kind of bummed about that. Actually, I'm sure
I'm excited for coming out. I think it's in a week or two. Is that the PlayStation 5, you know how they had the free game on the PlayStation 5, that Astro Boy or whatever it is?
Yes. Astro's Playland. My
Yeah.
niece, she got a
Yeah.
bunch of trophies for
So
that
they
for me.
get, yeah, they get it. They're actually releasing a full game of that.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's
Oh,
coming out
okay.
in a week or two. So that's one. It just has that Ratchet and Clank kind of vibe. I don't know. It's if you ever played it free on the PlayStation, I played it for way more longer than I needed to play it and enjoyed it immensely. So I thought, yeah, I'll give that a go. That seems like a fun idea. Um, yeah, obviously Indiana Jones. I'm just craving a game after Uncharted 4. There's been no good adventure games ever.
Yeah, I know. There needs to be more of
Yeah,
those. Like good solid third person adventure shooter puzzle solving thing.
yeah, like Tomb Raider was. We haven't even had a good Tomb Raider. I think there's a new Tomb Raider maybe next year.
You know what game I was actually thinking about giving another go, only because it's on PlayStation Plus Premium. Part of me wants to give Gotham Knights another crack. Because, like, I'm thinking of the
I'm
game.
trying to think of a way how I can encourage you, but I can't.
Right, see, that's the problem. The game's not overtly bad. Competent fighting,
Mm.
it controls well, it looks nice, it checks those boxes. But I want to try to go back just to see if there's something that can just grab me and keep me there, because it's one of those games that I feel like should be better than it is. It's not like some games are just hot messes and they deserve to be hot messes.
Yeah.
But I don't feel that about Gotham Knights. There should be something good in there that I want to try to dig out.
I thought it was okay, except for the fact that it was really, really boring for so long. Like it's just
Yeah.
like the same movements, the same like it was like you start. I think I did the first mission where you start in like the school or whatever it was, and you're going through the dorms or whatever, and um you attack three guys attack you, you do the same moves on them, then you go into the next room. It looks like almost the same room except they've changed a couple of items. Same three guys attack you and you do that again and you do that three times, and then you come out the other side and they go to a cutscene, and the cutscene's pretty cool and the story seems nice, but just the
See, that's one thing about Batman. Batman, I mean, you could say, well, that's what you do in Batman, but Batman was much better paced. You know what I mean? Batman, you got the new abilities so well at the right points, at the right spot. Sometimes it's the pacing of the game
well, I think
that can make.
with Batman, for me, the thing that like, I mean, I'm a huge Batman fan, but the thing that really enjoyed it was you could attack different rooms in different ways. So you might attack it where you try and be stealth and take out like 10 guys before they even see you. And then you might just jump down and finish the last two off. Or you might be like just going there and see if you can take all of them on without, being stealth at all. You'd play
Right,
it
yeah.
different ways, but this game here didn't have that double edge to it. You just in a room. The room was kind of quite boring. There was nothing really much going on in there, and three guys attack you, and you're like, okay. Then you go into another bigger room, and another five guys attack you, or whatever it is. But it didn't really seem to have that extra part to it.
Yeah, I think I'm going off on trying that again.
Well, we've talked about Ratchet and Clank rips apart. I want to see you play
Yeah,
that.
that's where I should go. So
Or
that's
you
probably
know
where I
what?
will.
You know what you should play actually. That's on the PlayStation thing.
Mm.
Cult of the Lamb.
Cult of the Lamb, you've mentioned that
I know
before,
it's
yes.
it's
And
now it's now
I think the Ultimate Edition too. Like
Yeah.
it's like the good edition of it's on there.
it's now on the PlayStation thing. So
Well, I'll right now all three. This just released today. All three Time Splitters games are now on PlayStation Premium.
oh
Yes, old school first person shooter action.
yeah.
God, I hope they approved it with trophy support. That'd be great. In fact, I think I might download that tonight.
Do you think it did? Is that the one that used to run with the gun? Oh no, that was
Oh no, that's Killzone. That was Killzone there.
no. What was the one was on the gun and rails?
Oh, Time Crisis.
Time
you're thinking of
Crisis.
Time
That's what.
Crisis.
Yeah, that's what I was getting mixed up with.
Time Crisis is great. That's
I
one.
know.
That's that for another episode. We got to do that. Rail shooters.
Rail shooters. Yeah, I think I could do.
Yeah, time. I'm not going to talk more about it, but yeah, Time Crisis be up there. I got like 5 of them I can talk about.
I don't think they. I think rail shooters went away because of guns.
Arcades went away.
Yeah.
Yeah, once the arcade. Even today, I mean, well, the VR games have shootings.
Mm.
You know, those got it. But I'm talking actual, like, you know, light gun.
Yeah.
You know, pointing at the screen. And you could do it. And today they'd be great. Today would be awesome if you did it. But like you said, it's a little violent, holding weapons.
Mm. Think of the kids.
Well, that's why the original NES Light Zapper was gray. But they ended up changing it to orange. So it could, like, pop a little more. And look more like a toy.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
That makes sense. Duck hunter, so the duck could see the gun.
Right, yeah.
That's such an exciting episode. That we'll forget about it, and then we'll do something completely different.
I know, yeah. Next week it'll be something. It'll be like the state of the PC, gaming, whatever, or something. We'll completely forget about it.
Yeah. Oh, Borderlands 4, 5.
Oh, actually, yeah, I wanted to talk to you about that. I know you're a Borderlands fan.
Yeah.
Are you gonna go see the movie?
I'm not sure about the movie. The movie's been I've heard so many bad things about it that I'm just
God damn.
I wanted to so badly when I saw the trailer, and we did a whole episode on the Borderlands and movies.
It makes Mortal Kombat Annihilation look like the Last of Us television show.
I know. I know. Why are we doing this to ourselves? I just don't get that.
Yeah, that sucks. I mean, I honestly, I'm not that attached to Borderlands, but I do want to see video game movies just like be the next it. And we got some good ones. You know, you got Sonic, you got Mario, and even in television with Last of Us and Fallout, like it's strong. And it's always a movie like this where it makes people go, "Oh, you see, that's why video game movies suck."
Mm.
You know, and I don't want that.
I think they tried too hard. Like I think they put the effort in to try and make it into like something that it's not, and they didn't add enough spice to it. Like Borderlands is a bit sassy, and I feel like from all accounts they've missed that, being a little bit too crude. They've made it a bit too PG. You know, like I don't know if that's intentional, like to try and appeal to the masses, but like that's what we.
That movie should have been a hard rated R movie. That should have been like, why not? You know, even kids today, like Borderlands has a franchise. People like Borderlands. It's not like a huge child franchise. The people that play in Borderlands are like the 15-plussers, the people that like blood and guts, and swears and boobs. Yeah. You know, all that.
And they make the movie appealing to like kids, like, and they tried to sell it to too many people. I think that's what the problem is.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
But still, Borderlands 4. I'm down. That's cool.
So yeah, no, I think so too. I'm very excited about that. Hopefully they don't go PG, or they just ruin the whole franchise.
No. Yeah. I mean, no matter what, the game will always be solid. So I'm confident with that.
Yeah. Have they announced the new Switch yet, or I just keep on reading bits and pieces about it? Is it just like, is it just one of those things where I think, why didn't they announce it? They keep on, like, if you see all these YouTubers and people saying, that we've found out this information about it, but why won't Nintendo announce it? Are they going to announce it and then you can buy it tomorrow? Like,
they're not announcing it because right now they feel they don't need to. I mean, Switch still has the largest install base, I think, globally right now. Like, compared to PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X. They just got the biggest share of the market. And they still got a lot of software that they're pumping. I mean, Metroid Prime 4, that's a big one. And
I don't know if you're talking about pumping out or just they've got a lot of software that they're updating from the other consoles.
But Metroid Prime 4 is a new game.
That's true. But I'm just saying there's so many.
No, you are right. There's a lot of, like, you know, Donkey Kong is getting remade. Even Mario RPG, which like
that was a remake. I get in November.
Oh, there is a lot of that, and there's a lot of
Mario
trepidation of that.
and Luigi's Brothership is coming out, so that's another one that they're bringing out.
I still want to pick up Princess Peach Showtime. If it's like the DS Princess Peach game, it should be pretty good.
Well, can you tell me about it? Because I need a
okay. So the original game.
No.
It was
Once you buy it, tell me if I'm worth buying it or not. Because I'm on the fence. It looks way too kid-like for me.
Well, speaking of kid, like another new, not remade, Switch game come out is Echoes of Wisdom. That's a brand name, and it's actually funny that they're like. You think that would be the game that they would launch with the Switch too, as a new Zelda game? I mean, they've done that before with Breath of the Wild and Twilight Princess. Have the launch game be a Zelda game, so. But maybe they're just that confident.
I don't. It's funny though because Mario Party Jamboree is another one that's coming, but the way I see it is, it's infinite proof that you cannot. A console doesn't define games don't define the console. Like people, or do the games define the console? Like it's this thing where we've got these. You've got Nintendo Switch, which is this way archaic machine. If you put any new PC next to it, it's 10 times worse in every single. It's not even. And half the projects they get to run on that, I don't even know how they get to run on the Nintendo Switch anymore. And there's even games like the Batman games that people are saying are just almost unplayable because they dropped to 4 FPS.
It's funny. Like, I wouldn't say it's unplayable, but yeah, I was playing it. I was like, I would just rather play the remastered version that came out for PS4. Like, that looks better. Much less the PC version, which I'm, so
they still sell so many copies on this console. For what reason? Yeah, but why? But you know what I mean?
Growing. It's growing.
I know that, but you know what I mean? It's like this console people should have moved on by now. Why? Like people are so. It's our gaming consoles topping out because that's my vibe. Like I know they're bringing out a new Nintendo and PlayStation and Xbox. I think the new Xbox they're talking about bringing it out next year.
Yeah, but okay, so see, that's the thing too. Another reason why Nintendo probably hasn't announced this because they don't need to. Everyone knows a Switch 2 is coming out. They might not know the name of it. They don't know the data, but it has to be. Like it has to be. Logically, there has to be a new Nintendo system.
Well, they might call it something else also.
Oh yeah, I mean, I've heard the term NX be tossed around as a potential because they're not going to call it Switch 2. They could call it Switch U, but I mean, if they could.
Well, Nintendo has a really, really good cycle of one really fantastic console versus the next one's really shit. So we could be really you have a look. Like 64 was amazing. What came after that? The GameCube that just sold nothing, and then after that,
had the Wii.
Sold amazing. Then we had the Wii U, sold nothing. I'm not holding my breath for it being an instant success. Like they have a real good way of stuffing stuff up when they get to it.
They just gotta be I hate to say it, but they gotta leave their innovation at the door when it comes to Switch 2. It has to be simply that updated, built for today's technology Switch.
Yeah, it just has to be a way more powerful Switch, and that would dominate the market again.
Have a thing where you can hook it up to the TV and you can have it play it on the go, just like the Switch. That was enough. That was enough innovation. That is good. Keep that going.
After having my Steam Deck for so long, I know I like to talk about it, but I don't think I like the idea anymore of the removable hand grips on the Switch. Like they've got the Switch Lite, I know that, but then that's a really small Switch. Like I feel like they almost need to make a bigger Switch.
I
Right.
actually like that only because, I mean, let's face it, with the Steam Deck right now, if a piece of the controller breaks on your Steam Deck, that's it. You know, you're not playing your Steam Deck. Whereas with the Switch,
Yes.
if something breaks, then you just get new Joy-Cons, and there you
Yeah, but
go.
it
You move
feels a
on.
bit flimsy. You know, when you
They,
pick up the deck,
yeah,
it feels like nice and robust.
I have a pair of third-party controllers on my Switch. Like they're big, honking. They
Mm.
feel like a OG Xbox controller
Yeah.
grips. So that works for me. But yeah, they're gonna have to make like just like a bigger handed model.
Yeah. For us big handed people.
Yeah. Our hands.
And you know what they say about large hands? Okay.
Uh-huh.
That's probably enough for the
By,
show
by a
today.
very big ego.
But yeah, I don't know. I reckon the Xbox will come out first. I think Xbox has got the best idea in place. And if you have a look at what they're doing, all they do is just release a new console all the time. And like we didn't even talk about when the Xbox One died. No one did because they did it so seamlessly going from Xbox One to Xbox Series that they'll do it again because they've got all this cloud gaming. They've got everything runs on the Game Pass now. So like all the new games that'll come out for the next one will run on my Series S, and it won't even matter if I've got a Series S or I've got the new Xbox because worst case scenario, I can play it cloud gaming. That's why it's just like upgrading your computer almost. That's what Xbox is making into the new versions of their console, where PlayStation and Nintendo are doing it the old fashioned way, where you need to go and get new games, you need to go and get all this stuff, and you know what I mean. I feel like Xbox has got the crowd on side a bit better with the way they've done it. I'm pretty sure all the games behind you are going to run on the next Xbox console if they put a disc in it. You know what I mean?
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, just I would going back to the Switch. I would love to for as soon as they announce the Switch 2, I'm putting my money down
Oh,
on that.
we all are. Everyone
Yeah.
is. We all want to lose
But
our money.
honestly, though, and it's not just you talking about it. The Steam Deck is on the forefront. The reason why the Steam Deck's on my forefront of my mind is because I already got several dozen Steam games anyway. You know what I mean? So why wouldn't I get a portable system that always has, like, I got an installed game library on it already? You know, it's not really a big deal.
Oh, once I get all the way of hooking up the Xbox and my PlayStation cloud gaming, then you don't need your PlayStation Portable. You don't need your what's that other thing? A PlayStation Portal.
Well,
Sorry.
one thing about the PlayStation, because you've mentioned this too, I don't know if I can stream natively off the Steam Deck. Like, I've never heard if you could do that, but you can with the PlayStation Portal.
Yeah, you can. That's exactly what you can do.
Yeah.
You just have to work
Well,
out.
no,
You have to put on the third party app, and then you can log in and do it
right, yeah.
exactly like the portable. It's just a little bit of mucking around kind of thing, but I think it's. I don't know. Like it makes me want to play Steam games all of a sudden. All of a sudden, I've been buying Steam games every week and just playing through them because I just pick it up in between things. You know, play for a little bit.
I got a couple new Steam games myself.
And the other thing is, you just in a game, you hit the power button, it turns off. You come back to it half an hour later, 4 days later, whenever it is. You press the power button. You're still in the middle of that game, right where you were. You don't no boot up time, no nothing, and then you just keep playing. So you know, like especially like people like us that are busy now. Sometimes turning on a PC, getting into the game, all that kind of like you wouldn't leave a game running on your PC. It's just not the way you do things. But on the Steam Deck, yeah.
I want to. Do you have this problem too? Okay, on the Xbox, let's just say I'm playing like any game really, and I just turn off the Xbox. I don't close out the game. I just turn off the Xbox. I come back days later,
Yeah.
and I go back. It'll go back to that game, and you can play from right there. But it's always like it's always pro like glitch or freeze, and it always like when I come back to it, and I'm like, why have this feature if you can't use it right? So
well,
now
I always come. You know what happens because mine does the same thing, but it somehow loses connection with the internet, and because it loses connection to the internet, then it forgets where it is, and then you come back to it, and it's like, hey, where am I? And it's all lost.
Yeah.
And then
That's
so
why
you have to reload
yeah.
it anyway. So yeah, I get your point.
Yeah, like when I stop playing a game, now I actually like close out the game before I turn off the console.
Yeah,
Just because why not?
the Steam Deck doesn't do that. Have that problem. You just literally just hit the button, turn it off, turn it back on, start playing the game. You're exactly where you are. I don't even know if I save games anymore. I just keep on, you know, I just turn it on and off and keep doing stuff like that with the Steam Deck. So I don't know. I think it's really good like that. Yeah, I think it'll be your go-to system once you buy one, and then we'll change this to anything Steam Deck.
Anything steaming.
Everything Steam Deck. Everything Steam Deck. That's what
Everything.
everything Steam Deck, and we'll just talk about Steam Decks. But yeah, if they make the Nintendo 2 with half the power of the Steam Deck, that would have a great console. So
Oh, here's hoping.
yeah. Oh well, are you done for this week?
I think we've runned around enough. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Oh, and we've run in a few puns, so it's all perfect. All right, let's talk again in a fortnight. See you guys later.